The next piece that I'm going to play was by Jean-Baptiste Caridon, who was teaching the harp at the French court, and I believe taught Queen Marie Antoinette at one point. And then he went to Russia, where he gave harp lessons to Catherine the Great. And the pieces were written for the single-action harp. Now, the single-action harp was really invented in about 1720, because people were so worried about the extra strings on the chromatic harps, and more strings to tune, more strings to break, and of course the fingering was extremely complicated, because in the Baroque harp there were two rows of strings tuned diatonically, like the white notes of the piano, like the harp is tuned now. I mean, the pedal setting is different, but the fingering was so complicated on these chromatic harps that it was Hochbrugger who invented this system of pedals, which raised each string by a semitone, so that my C strings are red, my F strings are blue, and so if I press my C pedal down to C natural, I can also press it down to C sharp, but that is a modern invention, well, I should say modern, it came in 1796. But to begin with, and it has remained unchanged almost to this day. But what was so wonderful was that it was Marie Antoinette really who caused such a fashion for harp playing that lots of money was brought into harp makers, and so they really made more beautiful instruments, in fact painted with flowers all over and a little putti and things hanging off the pillar. Some of them are quite revolting, they're such bad taste, but obviously very, very, what are they going to say, desirable for those people who wanted to set up salons. And so that is why the harp at the end of the 18th century had such an important role, because the early forte piano was a very weak instrument. It was competing with the harpsichord, and then they suddenly found that the harp at that period was sensitive. You could make all sorts of gradations of tone. And so, of course, a lot of music was written, which perhaps we shouldn't play today, but there are some wonderful pieces.